is all yours, sir.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the Oprah thing later. She wasn't happy, but she laughed at the end, so it was good. I had to write her a little bit of a check. Anyway, so good morning, everyone. Feel free to be on camera if you like, or you can certainly just listen. But I'm here to talk to you today about your professional style. So no matter where you are in your career journey, starting out, re-entering, looking to level up, hopefully you will find something in here in the presentation that we're going to share today. So feel free to take screen captures. Again, the recording will be here afterwards, or we'll have breaks intermittently through for you to ask questions, but it's pretty full of content. So I encourage you to stay engaged. So with that, I am going to start with the presentation. So give me just a second. All right, let's get over here. Let's do this. So once again, David Gasco, thank you, Jordan, for that amazing introduction. I should know about professional style because I own a marketing agency. And not only do we have to represent ourselves, we have to represent our clients. And most specifically, our clients are a lot of times consumers, all of you that are looking to get involved. So we need to make sure that we see, understand, and also know where people are going in the future. So that's kind of where we're wrapping this presentation up. So here we go. So Jordan, thank you again for that introduction. You can read more about this later and feel free to check out our website. But I am 100% committed to helping people level up and mentor and get better from what I've learned. And I've learned a lot throughout the years. So with that, I would like to know your story. So if anybody would like to pop up, keep it simple, 15, 30 seconds, and give me your name and kind of where you are at in your career or what you're looking to get out of this presentation. Anybody's welcome to join in. I like to make new friends. No go? Anyone? Okay, well, feel free at any time if you have a question to tell me your name and a little bit about yourself. So we'll keep going. And here we go. So again, what I'm here to do is to give you opportunities for growth and really make sure that you're effectively communicating your value. And also with that, when you can clearly communicate, you will build your networks, which is really important. So let's start off with, in professional style, what is personal branding? Anybody have any idea what that is? You can put it in the chat or you can say it out loud. Really what it is, it's your professional identity. And it is about showcasing your strengths, your values, and your expertise to differentiate yourself from the others. We all want to be unique, right? And we are unique. But how do we do that, especially in a professional manner? It really does play an amazing role in your advancement through career, no matter what you're doing. If it's a trade, a professional career, you're a solopreneur, or what have you, it really is something that you want to invest in and constantly be evolving. So with this, how do you get to that? How do you develop that professional style? Well, the first part that I always like to do, and again, we do this in marketing all the time, is identify your unique strengths. Really sit down with yourself and do some work. And what are your amazing skills? What knowledge and expertise sets you apart? You know, if you have a resume, if your industry requires a resume, or if you have a one-pager, as I like to say, just kind of an overview about yourself, talk about your strengths in your cover letter, or in your professional profiles that are out there. What trainings have you had? What do you like to do? Those are all really, really important items that highlight who you are. Consistency is key, is the next one that we like to go with. You have to be comfortable in showcasing yourself, right? Your values and throughout your interactions. So how are you showing up? Are you being able to have conviction in speaking about yourself? And this can be anywhere from, like, what we like to say, side-to-side conversations, which are networking events, job interviews. And even if you're participating in online forums like this, how do you show up? Define your values. really, really crucial. Don't let your values go. Stand firm in what you believe and what you feel. Even remember, and your values change over time as you learn and you interact with more people. This really affects your decision-making process. Don't listen, you have that, everyone's got that gut feeling, right? Stay true to that. Every time that I have gone sideways on my values and what I feel internally, not the right decision. And especially if you're building an online presence, think about your social profiles and LinkedIn, and if you're an influencer or what have you. What is it like? Is it clean? Is it clear to understand what you do? I think a lot of times we get into our heads and we're like, kind of word salading everything. We're putting everything into our profiles, right? Distill it back, really look and make sure that it's clear. If somebody finds you, what do you do? What are you about? And make sure that you're sharing content and in conversations online or what have you, that's relevant and professional and can showcase that you're a knowledge expert. Again, even trade to professional to everything in between. We all have skills and things that define us. So let's really be clear and make sure that people know what we're about. Let's see. What you will see in this presentation is that there will be a level of repetitiveness because so many of these items like your skills and what you're about and your values go through so many different sides of your professional style. Let's talk about this one. This is one of my favorite ones, professional image. You should get a professional headshot picture if you can. Something clean, something simple. Now listen, this doesn't mean that it has to be devoid of your personality, right? However, it needs to be clear, it needs to be well lit, and really just essential for somebody to remember you, because sometimes your online appearance is your first impression. Again, if you have a one-pager, creating that compelling headline that showcases your expertise and value. I'm sure we have a lot of amazing people here that can do that pretty easily. And your professional achievements. If you've been a part of a Goodwill program, if you have a certification, if you invest in your community, those are amazing things to put out there. Showcase your work. Again, depending on what you do, how are you standing out as a leader and you're kind of communicating? Everybody at every level has an opportunity to do this. Get involved. You're going to help somebody out. It is amazing sometimes when I've either written a blog post or sometimes sent an email with a link to an article or shared a thought. People are like, oh my God, this is amazing. I never thought of that. So everyone has that opportunity to be able to do this. I have a friend that is he's actually just started a plumbing business. And he's like, I don't need a website. I don't need a portfolio to show the work that I've done or to say, anything. He's like, I can just go through it. We did one for him, really simple. And it has changed his life because people can see something tangible about what he does. I know websites are pretty, like kind of status quo. You have to have one now, but there are still a lot of industries that think, I don't have to worry about that, or a solo entrepreneur. Make sure you get your information out there, even if it's just going and securing your own name as a domain, the www. Get out there and just get that and put a simple page up. That could be really a very easy item that you can share with somebody to get to know something about you, or as a follow-up to getting to know you personally. Again, engage with discussions online, what have you. But here's the things that you don't want to do, or that I would avoid. Do's and don'ts should be it's a little bit heavy-handed. Again, you can share valuable content that relates to your goals, but don't mix personal and professional expression. I see it online and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have said that. I would have kept that separate. It's best to, church and state, keep them apart. If you want to do something online, just know that people are looking everywhere. And especially if you're going to apply for a job or whatever, employers are looking everywhere and they're going to find things about this. You just want to make sure that you're being respectable and professional as much as possible. But again, if it's part of your values and you're speaking on something and you're very passionate about it, that's okay. Just don't mix them on to specific platforms, let's say like LinkedIn or what have you. If you want to have your IG and you want to have fun, do it. Controversial discussions. I'm not going to get into anything, but politics, stay away from it. But again, if it's something to uplift the community and you're really passionate about it, certainly share that, but try to avoid and navigate that controversial topics as best you can. Take a break. Anybody have questions so far? Nope. All right, let's keep going. So here's a big one. I know I've alluded to creating like this top line message. So here's some things to help you do that. When you present yourself to someone or a group, you want to be really clear, again, on who you are. Here's the key. Know who's in the room, right? Just like I want to know more about all of you here, know who's here and who you're going to be speaking with so that you can prepare before you go there. A lot of networking groups will put out information, especially if you travel in circles like that you want to try to get a peek at the guest list or really clear of like what their focus is. And if you have to do a 2 or 3 minute quick introduction of yourself, like you want to just know how to get in there. So consider their knowledge level, their preferences, and communication style. And some of this may be a quick read when you get into the room. If you walk in and, like me, I'm professionally but casually dressed, as you can see today. But if I walk into a room of suits, I'm like, okay, I know that I have to level up because maybe my appearance doesn't say something that is relatable to them, but then I have to, change my mindset really quickly and be ready for that. And I know that can be scary, but breathe through it. You're going to be fine. If you're authentic and you're personable, all that stuff really doesn't matter. I think sometimes we put more pressure on ourselves to be a certain way than just showing up authentically. Keep your message simple and focused 100%, especially when you're meeting somebody new. As I learned over the years, especially being a business owner, I used to try to put the whole plate in front of somebody. I'd be like, blah, 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 just keep going. Guess what? Nothing ever worked. You almost have to, when you present yourself, you have to simplify it as much as possible. Keep it simple and concise and focus on the key points. You think of the words that would be most common for what you do or how you interact or what your profession is or what have you. Like, I used to say, oh, I do shopper marketing. Nobody knows. There's a very, very small space of people or slice of people that would know what that means. However, if I say I do graphic design in some circles, or I am a marketing strategist, it just depends. I've got to have multiple angles that I can go in and tell somebody who I am and what do I do. Use an active voice. So really just kind of being really present and, not falling back into just being passive, not really caring, just being very like, I am here ready to do this for you, what have you, but, being just very active. So those are 3 key points that I absolutely fall and leverage every day as I am kind of going through circles and meeting people. And let's not forget, when you're having that speech and you're getting that prepared for yourself to go out into the world and meet, continue to meet new people, communication is networking. Remember I said about first impressions, even if it's online with that headshot and what have you, all these pieces come together. And so at any point when you're out there pitching yourself and you're just kind of sharing information about yourself, you're networking. So again, create that elevator pitch, that really compelling introduction that highlights your skills and experiences. We just talked about this, tailoring to your different audiences. Here's a big one. Be a good listener. Not only, I think so many times as we get into, developing our professional style, and granted, it's a journey, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. I love that term. We are so focused on selling ourselves, we don't really make time to listen to the other person. So be a good listener, show genuine interest. Think about how what you do can relate to them. They're going to find a connection. They're going to feel it. And so then that is going to make yourself a new contact. maintain eye contact. Don't look around. Look like how I'm looking at the camera to make sure that I'm connecting with all of you, especially online. Don't be looking anywhere else. Really stay focused. But in person, give them your energy. Let them know that you're actually connecting with them. Here's a big one that a lot of people just like, hey, meet, and then they walk away. Ask a follow-up question. Find out more about them, their industry. Give them time to say what they want about you. And if they're having a hard time, throw them a line, right? And be like, hey, I'd love to tell me about tell me about yourself. Here's the line that I use. Tell me your story. What does that do? Lowers the bar. And it lets them go, oh, yeah, I do have a story. I do have something I want to share. It could have been my Oprah moment. It could have been where I've come from. It could be something that I'm working on currently. So you have an opportunity yourself to encourage that connection. And of course, as you're doing that follow-up question, you want to make sure that they're open-ended, so you're not just getting the yes and no's. And then also, again, makes a deeper connection. Any questions on setting up your own personal pitch?
There is a question in the chat.
Let's do it.
Says, I retired twice and need to scale back on my personal brand. How do I scale down? And this is coming from John.
John, congratulations that you retired twice. I hope I can say that someday. How do you wind it down? Well, one, be transparent that you are like kind of landing the plane, that, you know, you still might want to be involved, and you're going to be watching and looking, and feel free to offer yourself potentially for services, you know, to mentor somebody. But just, I would be clear to your audience and let them know that, you know, I'm good. I'm just going to be an observer now. So, you know, one of the things that, especially on LinkedIn, I've noticed people are getting more willing just to say and put on their profile after their name retired, you know, like, I'm still here, I'm still active, but I'm not going to be stepping up like I used to. But congratulations again on that. Okay, I see another one. How do you get started? Hi, Shwana. How do you get started with your
How do you get started with your personal brand from scratch? What suggestions would you give from Shauna?
Look at other people. Look at you know, again, LinkedIn is a great and even Google is a great tool just to look for other people that have the skills or something that you're focusing on. And that's how I started, to be honest with you. When I started building my online presence, I would kind of mentor other people, or kind of look around their influence circle that they would have out, and the information that they were putting out there. And I would copy and paste little pieces from different people in a Word doc or a Google Doc, and kind of keep coming back to it. Here's the one thing that you can't do. It's not going to happen in one day. You need to take time with it. You need to, as I always say, breathe through it. And also share it with a friend. How does it feel? How to get into a conversation and record the conversation that you're having with the other person. Go back and listen to it. Have them ask you questions. You know, that's a lot of times when we're positioning like brands and we're trying to come up with, you know, a new way forward with them, we do a lot of like focus group testing. Now, granted, that's really big for a personal brand, but in essence, get your network together, get cherished people that are around you, or find a mentor and help them, and just be like, listen, I need to kind of get my elevator pitch or my personal brand going. Can we meet a couple of times and help me through this? Here's what I have, but bring something to the table first to that person. Awesome. All right, so I'm trying to watch the chat too. Thank you, Rosa, for making that happen. So
no worries, David. You don't have to worry about the chat. We'll take care of that for you.
All right, cool. I'm going to close that one. Good. Okay, so I am going to keep going. Keep the questions coming.
We have one more question.
Let's do it.
How do I market my brand in a saturated market without appearing desperate? Orencia.
That's good. So what I will tell you, Arencia, is we face that every day in the marketing space. It's like realtors, it's like everyone else. You have to find what you're super passionate about within the crowded industry and stick to it and become a expert and a knowledge source for a segment within it. So if you're a realtor and you specialize in housing for those that are doing like next stage of life. So let's talk about like, those that are retired or 60, 60 plus and, whatever. That's a segment that you can own. Now there's going to be others that are going to do it, but it's how do you show up and honor that segment, right? But also you have to be, without being desperate, that comes through your voice. We're going to get into confidence in a second. I think that gets into like how you're presenting yourself, being clear, being calm, and just being consistent. Are you showing up at networking events? And I think as people start to see you at different places and online too, you won't seem desperate. You'll seem very present. So I would ask you to minimize that word desperate in your thought process, and just work towards being more definitive and confident. All right, so let's go. So let's talk about that confidence, right? No desperate. We're not desperate. You have to practice. And again, the more clarity that you have, the more conviction that you have, the better you will become. And again, marathon. So, we have in this blossoming technology that always happens, we have our friend AI in so many different forms that can help you level up, right? And help in this case, sometimes with speech and writing, right? Now, does not replace the quality education and reading books and, watching, amazing influential people speak and kind of get there. Listen, I'm still on a journey myself, and I'm on like Toastmasters and all these different places to work on my speech. However, in slowing my brain down, you have to practice these skills. And with that, it gives you more confidence and more credibility. Writing is 100% it. I love when I get an email from somebody and it's a diatribe like this long. Well, that is, to your point, Arencia, that is desperation, right? Keep it concise, keep it really narrow, and obviously with personality and conviction, but keep it simple. That's just one example. I like this tip on the first column: practicing speaking in front of a mirror. Yes, I still do it today. I did it for this presentation. I probably should have done it again. But record yourself as well. I mentioned that a couple minutes ago. And have your friends give you feedback on how you're presenting yourself. Be well prepared and informed. So again, if you are a realtor and you're focusing on this market, know everything that you possibly can. Look at trends. Look at like what's coming down, right? What can you get out in front of and be like, I know that this is happening. So being up to date, again, what's in researching industry trends. That's what we do 90% of our time, is just kind of watching and looking, and also generating our own forecasting what is going to be happening. Especially if you're going to interview with a company outside of having your own business, make sure you know as much as you can about the company or the position. I know that might seem like really low end information. Go beyond the homepage. Find see if they have a culture. Do they have a DEI section? How do they support their employees, right? You want to know as much as you can. Knowledge is power now. And nobody should go into a job because there usually is so much information out there that may stop you in your tracks to decide if you even want to go any further. But hopefully they're doing the right thing. So I always like to say, stay up, see where they're trending in news, and some future developments. And how do you, maybe you engage with them on a platform like LinkedIn before you even go to comment on something, follow them, before you even go to an interview or a meeting. Never know, because you don't know who's monitoring those channels, and they could see your name and they could be in the room. So think about that. And then I love this one again, enthusiasm and conviction. What you bring is what people are going to feel. So make an impression, big energy, best you can. I know there's introverts. Sometimes I am an introvert as well, but I have to kind of dig deep and I have to go, okay, what does this room, what does this person, what am I going to give them? Right. So that it's going to hit the mark, and I'm going to make an indelible mark on them. Now, listen, there's off days, so I don't want you to think that it's going to be amazing 100% of the time, but do the best you can. And again, genuine interest. So you can stand out, you can positively impact someone, not only yourself, but someone else, especially when you're meeting with somebody on one-to-one, or as I like to say, one-to-many. Any questions around that? We have another one that came in.
Yeah. Should I adjust my business plan periodically? And if so, what reasons should prompt me to adjust it? Or should I be set in stone and followed in specific details? Or should it be set in stone?
So I think there is, I'm trying to think what my business coach would say. So no, I'm just going to wing it. There are aspects of it that should be longer. So I guess the answer would be no, it should change over time. Obviously, what you do should be pretty stable. Maybe your goals are a little bit more stable, but there are nuances that you can noodle and adjust. Could be around your communication style. It could be what you're talking about. It may be a different aspect of a bigger industry that you might want to focus on, that you're seeing that's trending, and you might need to move your business a little bit into that area. But let's say, again, I'm going to use the real estate thing. If you're in real estate, that's still going to be a longer term part of your business plan, is just to stay within that industry, or, maybe commercial versus residential, what have you. So business plans should adjust over time. I don't look at mine like every 30 days. I look at it every year. I probably make adjustments to it every 3 years. And then I look at my goals. So we've been in business for 9 years. And so I've looked at my long-term goals, I think, twice. So it's some of the smaller messaging, what channels are we in, as far as either social media or what have you. So I think you just kind of have to look at it. It just depends, because there's so many different business plan templates out there. Everyone is different. So it's really hard to say unless I'm like physically looking at your business plan and saying like, oh, well, this is how it makes a move. So one thing I would always recommend for especially solopreneurs or entrepreneurs that are building businesses is to get some type of business coach. And Goodwill may offer some of those services, what have you, but I would definitely get an advisor with you so that you have somebody that's there that can help you look at that in more depth. All right, so let's keep going. So, all right, now we're going to get into the fun part, because, image is everything. What is your visual representation of your style? So I always like professional appearance, right? How do you show up? What is somebody going to look and see? We can't help how people cue us and potentially, initially judge us. This is the way that we're built in our brains. We're trying to move forward from that. However, it's important to show up, being your authentic self. Sometimes when I show up, not only do I say here I am, this is what I look like. I'll say, hi, my name is David Gasco. My pronouns are he, him, and his. So I'm just kind of narrowing people down to, who I am and what I'm about. But my visual representation is something probably typically in a neutral or a black. And, I keep myself kind of subtle. But there are different levels of appropriate attire across different industries. So, again, look at where you're going, look at who's going to be in the room, look at the company. Don't lose your personal style, right? I mean, there's ways to influence that. I'm an LGBT person. Sometimes I'll wear like a really, really simple pin just so that people will know. Um, that's my choice. That's what I want to showcase to the world, right? But there may be something cultural that you want to wear, and that's totally okay. But we also want to make sure that we're representing the market that we're going into. If you're in financial and you're working at a big firm, yeah, you're probably going to have to wear a suit. If you're working more at a, let's say, a local, credit union or bank, you could probably be more relaxed. You have to kind of I always like to do kind of like a pop in, especially if it's someplace that is open, I don't want to say open to the public, but even like corporate settings. And I'll kind of just go and see if they have a cafe in their lobby or something, and I'll go and I'll get a coffee and I'll just watch people walk in and out so I can kind of get an idea. Again, use some intel whenever you can to dig into this. But remember, no matter the industry, again, if you're a tradesperson all the way through corporate, dressing professionally is a great first impression. You almost want to slightly overdress for what you're going for. Because I think, not that I think, I know people pick up on that and they're like, this person put some extra effort in. But I've also heard from friends and colleagues, like, I don't know what my style is, right? So again, this is almost like the same thing of doing your elevator pitch. What makes you feel comfortable and confident? What do you wear? Okay. If we're wearing athleisure, probably not the best in all situations, but take it the next step up. Like what do you feel confident? Because if you don't feel comfortable in your clothes, you're not going to interview well. You're not going to present well. It's the way that it is. Colors, patterns, textures, I know if I would put on something really bold, I'd probably not feel comfortable. It may get somebody to radiate over to me, but then I'm gonna go, it's not it. But what works for you? What do you want? Remember, when you walk into a room, nonverbal, nobody's seeing, they're just seeing you, and you're not having a chance to say anything. What does it convey? So think about that. I added this to the presentation last minute, but I was on Pinterest this weekend and I was creating like kind of my new evolution of what I want to wear, different things, create a mood board, get in there, like, we're all on our phones, so much of the day, if at all possible. Create a board on Pinterest and start getting things together. It really helps you start to narrow down of like, hey, I want to wear these kind of textures, or I want to wear this silhouette, or I want to wear these shoes and sneaks, right? Because maybe if you're in a creative field like me, I can wear all black and wear, a pair of Chucks or Jordans, and it's the right ones. So it's the right look that I want to convey. Take advantage of personal styling services offered by stores. Again, whatever level, sometimes they will. And a lot of times the sales associates are secret, like, shoppers, and they have their own style and they can help you level up and give you an opinion, and it's free. So, unlike you going to like Nordstrom or something and using their personal shopping service or whatever, but like there's people who have opinions all the time, and some of them have some really good Instagram channels. So definitely use that as a piece as well. And that's kind of where I'm saying connect with others who share similar interests. Get on there, just be inspired by other people. We're getting close here. So I'm not going to read this word for word. I'm just going to kind of overview it. So invest in quality pieces. What are your basics, for your industry? If it's a polo, get a nice polo. If it's, if it's a suit or if it's a colorway, whatever, get some really basic things first, a jacket, a pair of pants, great shoes, what have you, and do that first. Again, don't forget to express your personality, culture, values, passions. Don't show up in a, in something and it is just lackluster, right? Feel good about yourself. Walk in, you feel good, get it tailored if it needs it, or if you can wear off the rack, even better. But make sure you look clean and crisp, right? Consider your industry. We talked about that. Where you're going, who's there. You want to make sure that you're reflecting that. And then accessories and grooming. Don't overdo it. Watch hey, one thing that I have to give you is watch the fragrance. I know I have interviewed or been in the room sometimes with other people that have sensitivity to heavy fragrances and stuff like that. So keep it light, don't overdo it, but make sure that like everything is clean, nails especially. It just shows a level of polish for yourself, right? And also you feel good. So let's talk, I think this is we're rounding it home. So I want to talk about how does this all come together in networking? So again, one thing that I would, in your mindset as you're going through life, everyone that you're meeting is an opportunity to network because you don't know who they are. I think so many times in networking, we're thinking one-to-one, but we need to think one-to-many because who does that person know? If you're making a lasting impression, they may have somebody in that network that can be a connection point for you. Again, engage in those online professional communities, LinkedIn, industry forums, read blogs, comment, be a part of it, be a part of it. Take what you've heard or what you've read and readapt it and put it out as yourself and be like, and give credit to the person that, you read or received information on. And again, that helps you connect with those like-minded professionals. Attend those industry events and workshops. So what are those conferences, those seminars, if you have a chance? It doesn't matter, again, what industry you're in. There is a seminar or a group or a meetup for everything. So make sure that you're doing that and you're being present because you can do all this work and you can build your professional style and brand and you're at home and you can do it online and that's great, but show up, give them a mix of both of you. One of the best things that I have is, when I mean, of course, have a business card if you're a company, or if you need to, like from your personal business or what have you. But digital business cards, I use one that's called Popl, Popl, that has a QR code. And I literally get somebody's information in 2 seconds and I don't have to do the whole email thing. I can follow up with an email. And we're going to talk about follow up in a second. But it's actually right there. But those digital business cards are a great way for you to get somebody's information and stay connected right away. And it lowers the bar of like, trying to figure out who you were at, and where did this business card come from. So make sure if you have the opportunity and ability to get one of those to definitely do it. However, I would also say if you're out networking, carry a pen in your pocket so that if you do meet somebody, you can gracefully turn around and write on the back of their business card right there something about them, so that you can easily follow up and have a conversation point instead of trying to recreate that, in your mind later on. Staying in touch. This is really important for me, especially as I'm looking to build my business constantly, because even after 9 years, you have to keep working on it. So regular, be in contact, say like, I'm going to connect with people every 90 days or every 60 days or what have you. Offer support, share resource, reach out to somebody. I mentioned this earlier, reach out to somebody that you have a connection with and say, hey, I found this article that you might find relevant, or I wrote this and, you might want to take a look at this. So staying in touch, however that might be. All right, let's go on to the next one.
If I don't have a computer now, and that works. When you come out, if you
Awesome. Okay, so in closing, first impressions matter. Again, how do you show up? How are you presenting yourself? How clear is it what you're doing? And of course, the first thing that they know is what they're going to remember in most cases. So you want to make sure that you can do it as best as possible. Again, don't overpressure yourself. However, we want to make sure that we're showing up as much as possible. Some days, like I even have to think about myself as a business owner and I just want to throw a ball cap on and like a hoodie and I want to go out and I'm like, got to remember. So I try to save that for the weekend when it's not. So I'm always trying to be on point as much as possible. Authenticity and identity. Again, I led with my pronouns. I'm not afraid to tell people who I am if that's the case. However you want to do it, you want to make sure that you're authentic to yourself and you're expressing yourself just truthfully, right? And in your identity of however that is. So make sure that you're not only giving, but being courteous to others. And if you are unsure, especially when it comes down to pronouns, make sure that you ask. And then lastly, build those connections. you know, when we're not, again, when we're being authentic and we're connecting our style to our personality and our values, we can walk in and it is just 100% clear, and people will know and they will feel that energy, and it will facilitate a lot of meaningful connections as you move forward. So that's what I have for you today. I know we have a little bit of time, about 10 minutes. I want to make sure, I'm really shocked that I did that in the amount of time. But I want to make sure that we open the floor and we ask some questions, because that is why I'm here.
Thank you so much, David, for that insightful presentation. So we do have about 10 minutes left, like you mentioned, for questions to come in. If we don't have any, I do have a few for myself. You touched upon, the elevator pitch, and then maybe get back down into more of the professional style. So one of the things I really just appreciate that you touched upon was knowing the information, knowing your industry when it comes to developing your elevator pitch. For our audience out there, could you maybe describe what would be the ideal length for an elevator pitch and why that would matter?
An ideal lead?
Ideal length.
Length. Oh, I'm
Length.
sorry.
Words.
1 to 2 lines. Seriously, it needs to be really, really efficient. So I guess I'm trying to think which one I would use. I have about 5 that I use myself. And again, that's just kind of over time, but I'd be like, hi, I'm David Gasco. I am the founder and CEO of Hierarchy. We're a marketing strategy and communications firm that is focused on you generating deeper connections with your consumers. We're focused on inclusivity. So that would be one that I would use, right? And maybe I need to make that a little bit more simple for another audience, but it kind of, it's like, what I do, I do marketing and strategy, that I'm like trying to make deeper connections with, your audience, and I'm focused on, helping brands be more inclusive. So those are like 3 words that kind of pop out in your mind, right? You may not hear anything else, but you can relate to those 3 terms. So that's how I would, kind of think about that as you're going out. Now I'm representing my company, right? So if I'm, just somewhat myself, I could be like, hey, I'm David Gasco. I'm a graphic designer. I'm really committed to giving back in the community, and I love to travel internationally, right? So you got something personal, you got something that I want to do outwards, and you also have something about what I do.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
We do have a question. What are your quick thoughts on logo and branding in terms of colors and design?
So I like logos more on the simple side. Sometimes it can just be a treatment with text. It doesn't have to be a specific logo mark. I know, everybody wants one, but I think let that come over time. But I tend to go a little bit more on the simple side. I don't use a lot of gradients, and, let's put it this way. I'm all about giving your, a family member or friend that is very junior an opportunity to create a logo for you. But I would also make sure that you either hire a professional like myself, or you go to somebody do your research. We have amazing programs like our platforms like Fiverr and different things. Now, a logo should not cost you $5. It shouldn't. I'm just telling you. It can. You may get a really good one. But do your research and, get out there and give somebody the opportunity that doesn't know you to create something really unique.
Yeah, that was great.
Y'all are making this too easy. Anything else? So get to work. Do your homework. And practice, because then the confidence comes and it's super easy after that.
Thank you so much, David. And the Career Connector team would love to invite you guys that have joined today's speaker series to our next speaker series on February the 1st. That series will touch on salary negotiation for women. Just
That's
wanted
a
to
great
throw that out
topic.
there.
That is a fantastic topic.
We're excited about that
Oh
one
my
as well.
God. I'm going to join that one because
Please do.
that is, wow.
We'd
awesome.
love to have you join. I'll make sure to send you an invite.
Please.
Yes. Any other questions you'd like to share? Oh, Jordan,
thank-
you're muted.
Yeah. And thank all of you for your time. Really appreciate it. I mean, you took the time to be here and that's like super important. So thank you.
How do you get in touch